His description is also in the, or no, yeah. Well, his description is, but and I don't know, maybe he's 6'2". I don't know, but we didn't have a blooper, so now we do.
There you go.
Hey everybody, welcome to Lions Pride Tavern podcast number 61. Tonight we find out how we did in last weekend's raid and what's the biggest news from Blizzcon. We will find out. But before all that, let's start off with introductions. Next up is JobUi.
Hi, I'm JobUi. I play a Worgen Frost Mage.
And Lorelei.
Hi, it's Lorelei, your Knight of Fury Warrior.
And the Epistles.
1 and 2. I play Epistle, a Draenei Protection Paladin, and a Dwarven Protection Paladin.
Threw you off on that one, didn't I?
It took me a moment.
Tapachino's not here tonight. Her significant special other had some surgery, so she's playing nurse. Good for you, Tapachino. Way to heal. So let's start right off. JobUi, recap us for the weekend.
Okay, so on Friday night, we started off our normal run of heroic, and we got all the way through Sisters of Moon, and we went on to Mistress Azine and got some pulls on Mistress Azine, but ended up with the evening with I believe 6% or something. It was very close, but it was not a kill. Came back on Saturday, took out Mistress Azine after a few pulls. There was a lot of miss pulls. There was a lot of like face pulling, as we refer to it as, people jumping the gun. So we had I think 2 or 3 of those, and then we had a nice clean pull, and everybody got their stuff together, did all the mechanics as good as they could, and we got the kill. In fact, in record time. We beat our old time by 1.5 minutes. So that was a really good kill. And then we went on to Desolate Host, and we got a few pulls on Desolate Post, not a whole lot. And it was an interesting fight. People are going to have to learn the mechanics on that one. It's a little bit of a dance, but I think once everybody gets used to those mechanics in that fight, it'll start to get a lot easier.
Well, and I think we redid who's on what side, and people have not played on that side before. We're having to learn it for the first time. That always is on the spirit side, and now they're on corporeal or up, down, or whatever, however you want to call it, the light, the dark. Because I know, and then with I think the healers had some issues where they have to switch back and forth. I don't think they're quite getting that, but it's too bad Tap's not here to talk about it.
Yeah, with the Tap and specifically Tap, she seemed to be getting a lot of the Wither debuff, and so in almost every pull we did on that, she had to make at least 1, if not 2, switches to the other side. So it seemed to be randomly targeting her, at a pretty considerable amount. And so she was trying to deal with that, and we were trying to get used to that, like you were talking about the healers switching from one side to the other, and we tried some different tactics with that. On
the plus side, she's going to be really good at it now.
Yeah, good practice. And I was thinking about like you were saying, that how we did some redistribution of the players and stuff, so that we had more players with the immunities, mages and hunters primarily, up on the corporeal side, also sometimes called the upside or top side, and because we can immune this spear that gets thrown at us, and negate most of the damage, or all of the damage, With mages, we still get thrown to the spirit side, but we can quickly come right back. We don't require any healing or anything like that when that happens. So pretty handy. But I did notice that just because of the makeup of our group, it kind of threw off the DPS balance between the top and the bottom.
Yes.
So we may need to do some fixing on that, move a couple people around, and have a few people with the immunities up top, and then a couple of those people maybe move down to the bottom to help out with some of the ads down there.
Well, I know with the hunters, let's just talk about the spear. The hunters can negate it because they reflect the damage, and they don't get put down below. But
Right.
it was very interesting that to find out that the mages, though, they didn't get the damage, but they still got put on the other side.
Yeah, I found that really surprising. And it confused one of our other mages like heavily. Like she didn't even realize that she had gotten sent to the wrong side, and she was doing like AOE damage to her own side. She was ended up on the wrong side because she thought like the ice block was going to negate it entirely, just like I did. But I noticed that when I got hit by it, like it kind of the screen sort of shimmers a little bit, and like the players on your side fade out, and the other players begin to fade in. I'm like, oh, I got sent to the spirit realm, even though I was an ice block. Interesting.
Yeah, maybe our fans can help us out with that on what they do. I know there's quite a few that listen that have their own guilds and do this. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about your composition and how you separate into the two sides. I'm thinking what we'll do next week and give it just an experimental try is to put the mages down below.
Sure.
And because we've got, 6 hunters, so
Right.
that
Yeah.
should be more than enough to handle the spears.
Yeah, I was thinking something similar. Like just because it's with the hunters, they don't have to deal with any of that mechanic, whereas the mages still do. So it would make more sense to move the mages down to the spirit realm.
Yep. So yeah, Desolate Host, that was it's interesting. There's a lot of mechanics. I'm on the corporeal side, so we'll talk just briefly, each one of us, about the side that we're on. Lorelei, what side were you normally on? Were you on the spirit?
You all have put me on the spirit realm, which I've been there before. It's not bad. I think the one thing that we worry about more is making sure that we take the damage buff over to the Death Knights, or not the Death Knights, but the ads up top that have the bone armor on them, so that we can break that bone armor quickly. But then we still have to leave the bottom when the boss does wailing. The boss on the bottom side does wailing. Is it wailing cry? That where everybody leaves except for a tank and a healer.
I think it's Wailing Soul.
Wailing
And-
Soul, one of the wailing
Yeah.
things, yeah.
Yeah, when you get Wither.
Now,
Yeah, and the
Wither
other-
isn't Wither the buff that you need to take over to the top
No.
ads underneath
No,
them?
that's Shattering Scream.
Okay.
Shattering Scream is
I've
the one.
not been on both sides. It's just kind of
Yeah.
trying to pay attention which side I'm on, and then sometimes I'm on the bottom and I got to get healed and come back up to the top. And
That's why I just call them lines and circles. I try to
Yeah.
ignore
Yeah.
the name.
Well,
It is
the only
confusing.
reason I got used to the names on those is because I wrote weak auras for them, so I started getting used to the
Yeah.
names.
So you got it down now.
like swirly line, squiggly line, big circle,
We're so technical in this podcast.
in and out, yeah, go back and forth.
Do the hokey pokey.
Yep.
It is a hokey pokey dance.
But it's an interesting fight.
It is.
It's very fluid. I noticed that, and I'm on the corporeal side, so I'm on Epistle's side. Epistle, he just kind of stands there, I guess. I don't know.
Yep.
That's what he kept saying, yeah.
Well,
But
it's just like the normal for me. It's very little difference. And so if you've heard me calling out on the last few fights more, it's because it's not there's not a learning curve for me. Maybe there's some curveballs a little further on in the fight, but for now it's just avoid the damage and try to make sure I'm staying more or less in the same kind of position, even though I'm getting tossed about.
Yeah. The I noticed you were calling out the guys with the bone shield guys, and I was specifically targeting them more often than not to try to get those down quicker. Was that a good thing to do or a bad thing?
Well,
When the bone shield's up, though, that's a 95% damage reduction, I think. So it's kind of a waste of your DPS. But when their shield is down, we can melt them pretty quickly.
Yeah, I noticed like we were getting them to that 50% relatively quickly. It seemed like one of the things I really liked was I noticed that DBM had the little window in there that tells us how many of those bone armors are up on the ads. So you can see it. There's always 3 ads, and so you can see like 1, 2, and then sometimes it sits there at 2 for a little while until that third one gets enough damage. Because sometimes I noticed like the DPS were like hitting the ads, and then they noticed that their numbers were dropping, and then they switch back to the Soul engine, and so they're not getting that third one to activate its bone armor at 50% health. But yeah, it was nice to notice that.
I did also notice that the ones that cast the bone armor can actually be stunned. So once when it was getting close to the 50%, I stunned one, and I think one less shield got up. But you'd have to time it to get both, I think, to overcome that mechanic.
So what is the objective of this with those guys?
Well, you get them to 50%, and then a player on the spirit side gets the shattering scream channeled at them, which that builds up to 5 stacks, and so it's every 1.5 seconds they get another stack. But when it hits the 5th stack, it explodes and does a little bit of damage to them, but it also removes the bone cage armor from any of the targets within 8 yards of them. So if they go over and stand where those ads are in the corporeal side, when they explode, it removes the armor from those 3 ads, and then the people on the corporeal side can then finish off those ads for the rest of their health.
So it is a good thing to get them down to 50% quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But
right.
once they're at 50%, until their
Yeah, they don't
armor
take
is
any
shattered,
damage.
then you need to switch to the boss, to the
Soul
engine of
engine,
souls.
The Soul
Yeah.
engine, yeah.
I was sort of wondering if just a little bit of AoE damage while still targeting the boss would get them down to that percentage.
I don't know. Like I said, I was specifically targeting them and getting them down. I thought it was 40%, but whatever it was. I saw they weren't dropping anymore, so then I'd switch to another one.
Right.
Yeah, it really only took a few seconds.
And I just, mostly I targeted them when they would first come out. I also tried to interrupt them sometimes when they start casting, when they came out, so that they would, because they would stop and start casting, and they just stand there while they're casting. So I try and interrupt them so they'll continue on their march towards Epistle, and get them all stacked up over there, because he's not like Durag, who can just grab them all and pull them into one spot. So, so I was trying to interrupt them so they'll keep marching.
I can hit him with a shield, but it's one of those annoying things that I hit him with a shield to interrupt their spell, then they come, but I have to time it precisely. I can have threat on them, but not guarantee necessarily that I'm going to interrupt the casting, especially when they're coming from a couple different directions.
Yeah, it's one of the things I like about the mage interrupt is it interrupts them, and then it prevents them from casting any magic from that school, at least for 6 seconds. So a lot of times they'll march quite a distance after I interrupt them.
All right, yeah. And as far as the corporeal side, I know we got the big purple circles. We got those down pretty good. First couple of pulls, we kept getting them up close, but then we realized, okay, we can get those further back. But I don't know, those dreaded purple triangles that come out, it just seems like some people understand what we're doing with that, and some people don't. So why don't we try to explain that? Epistle, you want to take that?
Well, and sometimes the timing on that is tricky. What you want to do is overlap them as much as possible without getting yourself killed. So it's almost like you stand on the very edge. As soon as the cast completes or just about to, you edge in, get hit, run out right away, because it'll kill you if you stay there for more than a second or two. Ideally, we want to be overlapping them, and ideally, we want to be fanning them away from the middle of the room. So basically back out behind the boss, or even behind the boss totally is fine. What we don't want to do is have them filling up our field so that I can't go anywhere, because I've got the ads and I have to stay on the boss. So I'm playing a pretty tight game. I'm staying within just a few feet of one spot. So as soon as we start stacking those things all up, we're fanning them forward towards the other side, we can create some problems. So for example, if someone's got that bone shield removal and they come running over, they'll have to run through that damage. in order to pass that on. So you don't want to create that situation for them. So ideally, wherever you are, you want to kind of move slightly to the, in our case, right or counterclockwise. If you will, you're at 3. You want to move between 3 and 12 from where you start facing the boss, and that will make it a lot easier to keep those lines out. But the problem is, and I think this is why people are running into trouble, if you're already, say, at 3 o'clock and you want to drop it off at 12, it's coming too quickly for you to kind of get there fast. And the other problem is you have to run through those lines to get there, unless you loop through the boss, and that's the problem.
You paint yourself in a corner.
Yeah,
and
it's all painting in your corner. Yeah.
And that's all about people having to learn that they're going to have to position themselves. Melee should always be, as soon as you get it, stand under the boss's, the Soul Engine's head, and it will shoot it behind him. And then anybody else, everybody should be standing to the right of the head anyway, as far as they can. That way it's always going to come to the far right and leave the middle open. Because I noticed on the last time that I was there and we did it, people were putting it right across the middle, so you couldn't get to drop your soul bind, because everybody took damage when you tried to run to the center.
Yeah, I noticed that.
It's going to be about people learning, I got to move over to the right as much as I can and not drop anything in the middle at all.
I think I would say that's what killed most people, or no, there's something on the spirit side that was going funky.
The spirit side was getting smoked more so than the corporeal side. Most of the polls that we did, it ended up with the spirit side, like almost all dead. And then we would start, things started cascading. But I think a real important thing is everybody needs to, this is one of those instances where they need to know the name of that particular attack, and it's Tormented Cries. And because if they don't know what the name is, because DBM tells you Tormented Cries, is on you, and it blink, tells you gives you some noise and puts a big text on your screen, kind of thing. And when I got it, I was able to, like Laura was saying, I was able to get behind the boss. I think I got to 2 o'clock, and granted I can blink and all that, but there was still a few seconds. You have some time to maneuver before it drops. As soon as it notifies you, and you got a few seconds. But yeah, it's just players got to get used to that, and they got to get it over there to the side, or else it's just going to fill up the room, and we're not going to have any room to maneuver, and it's going to block people off, and they're going to take unnecessary damage, and it's going to make things harder.
Yeah, I didn't have too much problem with it. If I was the first one to drop it, that was fine, because I always play up close to that side anyway. I like to be closer to that big pillar in the corner. Because if you get hit, and I don't know what it is, that green exploding wave that comes at you, it goes out in 4 directions. I like to try to stay at a 45-degree angle from it. But if I get hit by it and that pillar is behind me, I hit the pillar rather than flying off the edge of the map. But I just stand right next to the Tormented Cry that's down. Literally right next to it. So if I get it, mine overlaps half onto the current one that I'm standing next to, and then just gives a little bit coming out to the left.
Now, you're standing on the inside of it, so the 3, 4, 5, 6 spot, or to the right of it, so that you can move the...
It really depended on, where the first one dropped. If it dropped closer to the, 3, 4 o'clock, then I'd go to the right side of it to bring it back behind the boss. But then I'd paint myself in a corner. But if it was already up there, then I'd just stand next to it and start bringing it out, to the 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock.
Well, after the first one's down, is there any reason why you can't just run through the boss and around it that way?
Other than the fact that might put you on the spirit side.
As long as you don't go too far, it shouldn't be an issue. There is a effect where if you get within 8 yards of another player who's on the other side, if you're on the corporeal side and you get within 8 yards of somebody who's on the spirit side, you'll do shadow damage to that player as if you're within 8 yards of them. It doesn't specify how much, but I did get hit with that a couple of times as players got too close to me during the fight, so you can kind of see it going off. It's like a little AoE explosion that you can see coming off of their little shadowy body, but it's not like instant kill damage. So you could
So I got hit with the spear, and blocked one. And as soon as the next one came up, it was me again. And I couldn't block it because I didn't have my turtle. So I got sent to the other side, and I couldn't even make it to the shadows or to the spirit side before I died because I
You
was
were in a
close
stack
to
of people.
everybody. Yes, I was
Right.
in a
So
stack
you
of
were
people.
right. So you should have been far enough away from them already. Anyway, because remember that spear is going to give you got to be at least 5 yards. So you're supposed to get
Yeah,
away from everybody with that. So, but you were probably caught up in the group,
I
and so
was.
you took
Yeah,
multiple stacks. But I took like a single hit from that dissonance, and that wasn't so bad.
yeah. So that's something to
Yeah.
look out for.
Plus, the healers on the bottom have to know that if someone from the top comes down, they've got to throw out a heal, because you have a short time before you can get healed enough, and then you can click on the Soule font to get back up.
Yeah, the little brazier thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
see,
that the
I think
healing at
that's
the
what I was.
bottom requires a lot of healing, so they have to. You've really got to put your strongest healers on the bottom.
See, now we didn't do that, so I'm wondering if that's why we had problems, because we put all
Probably.
of our we had 5 healers, so we put 3 of them on top and
Mm,
2 on the
should have been
bottom.
3 on the bottom.
Yeah, and on top of that, I don't think we're going to need as much healing on the top with as many immunities as we've got up there from the
Right.
spear. So we're definitely need to reposition some of those heals for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
and
going to be my suggestion for a strategy change.
was there a lot of green stuff on the on the bottom on the platform on the spirit realm?
Well, the 3 of us were on the corporeal side, so I don't
You
know.
can still see it though.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I could see it. There was a lot of you mean the green goo that the little lads leave behind?
Yeah, because maybe
Yeah.
the little lads aren't being killed first.
They weren't.
Okay.
That was a big problem the first few polls. Then we made it a point to point out to the melee that were on that side that forget the mini boss, get your butt out there and go kill the little ads. Like you just stop DPSing. We made it a point that the little ads were top priority targets when they come up, and then they started going down quicker. There was less green goop, but initially on the first couple pulls, it was like their whole side was covered with goop.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's definitely priorities to what you need to kill on that, and you can't vary off of it.
No, those little ads have to go down fast. And with moving like Jelly and I over onto that side, that could be extra useful as well because all of our attacks, or a lot of our attacks, I wouldn't say all, but a lot of our attacks also slow the target. So that means less green goo going around. As we're attacking those little ads, they move slower. So less strings of green goo along the floor before they die.
Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit about Mistress Sazine, because I think JoBui kind of hit the nail on the head when he said that we had a couple of bad polls, we had a couple of missed polls, and one of them wasn't too bad. We almost got there.
Yeah.
But when we actually got a good poll after the first one, because we had some new people that hadn't been there yet, and I think they had to see what was going on. But after that, then I think we didn't do too bad because the last poll was when we got it down with, and like you said, we beat our time by a minute and a half or whatever.
Yeah, it was a good clean poll, and I think we only had like maybe it was like one death.
I think there was just one person down when we got her.
Yeah, I think we
sounds about
only
right.
lost one.
Yep, I do know that the little murloc on your face sucks.
Yeah,
Yep.
I
Especially in phase 3.
Yeah, I really hate that one too because the only way to get it, I mean, like earlier, even not in phase 3, the only way to get it off is to stand in the little electrified fields from the jellyfish, which is going to stun you for however many seconds. It's like a few seconds. And I'm like, so I got to get this thing off, but that means I have to be stunned and just stand there. This is
Well, I had it on me so long that it got bored with me and just left.
You just gave it a name. You're like, hi, Frank.
Yeah. No, it left. It was like, oh, you're no fun. You're not standing in the field, and then it just took off. I think I had it on for the whole 2 minutes.
Can you like feign death or something to get that thing to get off you? I wonder if I can ice block and get one to get off.
No.
I don't. I'm gonna have to try that next time. Next time I get one on me, I'm gonna have to ice block
Turtle.
and see if I can get it off me. You're like, get off me, you Murloc.
Feign Death might work. I don't know. I'll try both. So then,
See,
so then you
this
see
is-
Stafford off in the corner. He's got a turtle shell, and the next thing he does is Feign Death. Like, what the hell's he doing?
It's
King
just a
with
Murloc.
Murlocs.
Because he
But
can
this-
hurt. He does a lot of damage over time.
I have to say, I love hearing this as a tank and really having no idea what this looks like or what the experience is like. It's so nice that Blizzard is sharing the love of difficult mechanics with other people for a change.
So you know what it's like to have
yeah.
a parrot on your shoulder, right? So this is like, or the monkey from.
No, I
Okay.
don't have a
You
parrot.
don't? No. but this thing's like in your face and it's hitting you, and you know, it would be a bit different if it was on your back, and you could say, "Get this Murloc off my back." But
Oh, so it's like having kids, you're saying?
yeah,
Yeah,
it's right in your
Oh, okay,
face.
yeah.
Or a needy cat, perhaps, or something.
Ooh.
It is. It's like right on your face, you know, and DBM gives you a little warning, and you can see it, like if you notice it, because I mean, there's a lot going on in that fight, but there's like a Murloc character on your face, like I think pounding on the top of your head with its fist and stuff, and yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just too busy worrying about taunts and where I'm standing and what's coming next and where the tornadoes are coming from. And
Well, that's
all that.
great, man. We need you to do
Yeah,
that.
we need you to
Yeah.
do that. Yeah.
Yeah, not Miss Daunting. I have to say, this week I was flawless and impeccable after last week.
Not your partner.
I'm not calling him out about anything, but yeah. I'm just saying my own game was good. But no, there's a couple times when that's the thing. You misclick or you miss time to click, and it's a raid wipe mechanic. It's really high stakes taunting.
Well, and didn't I understand from Durag that DBM might have been off just a little bit, or maybe it doesn't quite keep up once you hit to the third phase, because he was like, "Oh, I didn't get a warning," or somebody, maybe it was you that said that. I didn't get the warning for.
It was off a lot of it. Like there was all kinds of problems. It was like last week telling us the wrong person, but there was at least once for both of us where it didn't tell us. Which is why that I don't know if you're noticing or anyone watching our live stream. Yeah, we were just calling it out. We were just saying we taunted just so that we knew. Because the other weird thing from a tanking perspective is that, and I don't know why this is happening in this particular fight. Usually you taunt and immediately you see the boss switch to you from the other tank. But not this case. You taunt and then a second later, on average, the boss... the visuals, the graphics change to show that you're now taunting. So it can be a bit disconcerting because that's about how long it takes to start wiping the raid and see everyone's health bars going down. So it's really nerve-wracking when you're hoping you've got it. So yeah, calling it out just helped us know before the visuals caught up with the fact that we'd actually done the taunting properly.
Yeah, and you know it gets so hectic on third phase. I mean, it just seems like everything's coming at you. You've got the lines coming out, you got the whale coming and the shark, and it's just like, oh. And the Murloc's pounding on your face. And
well, no Murlocs for us, but yeah, for the tanks though, it is a constant move, and I do notice that people probably rely on the tanks. Their body language, if you will, to see where the tornadoes are coming from as well, which means we're always having to zoom around the screen, see where they're coming, anticipate that, and then move before anybody else to kind of reposition the green goo on the floor between us and the tornadoes.
Oh, no, see,
I'm super thankful for Blink for that, because what I usually do for the tornadoes is I watch to see where everyone else starts running away from, and then I blink the direction they're running.
Yeah, no, see, I do
Nice.
similar. I step back closer to the wall, and I look, and if I don't see the tornado coming out in any of the walls, I go, "Oh crap, it's behind me!"
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, I
And I hit my
just
super
kind of
boost.
stick around the green goo and just hope I can see which direction it's coming from.
Well, we also did something slightly different on the way we tanked it this time around too. The first phase we always tank right in the middle section, but then on the second phase we're starting to shift out, not to if you think of it as 3 circles, so close to that inner circle and then the total outer circle. We never want to tank in the outer section because that's just too dangerous. Bad things come from there. So tornadoes or other nasties.
The whales.
Whale.
What is it that's sucking? Is that a whale that's doing
That's
that?
the
Yeah,
whale,
it's the
yeah.
whale.
Yeah.
The maw,
Yeah.
I think is what it's called.
Yeah, so we
It
don't want
killed-
to be anywhere near that. Yeah, so
it
we
killed,
try to
what,
work.
5, 6
Yeah.
people in one.
Yeah, so that's why we have to position in not the middle, but the sort of the second circle out, and stay away from that outside. And so when we made that shift, I think it's actually improved our performance a little bit, but people still have to have really fast reaction time when they start getting sucked in some direction, especially if we're close.
Well, when we lost the 6, I think that was we had the shark coming, and so everybody was over to the side, and then the whale appeared. It was just bad timing.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like I tell you what, like on that fight, I will never stand next to the wall. I just don't do it.
Nobody should be standing on the wall.
Like it's just I consider that dead zone. If I'm standing on the wall, I'm about to get eaten by a whale. That's all there is to it. So I'm never ever on the wall. Like even when I'm dodging the shark, like the big whitey frothy looking swath across the middle, I just get right to the edge of where that white stuff is. Just step right outside of it so that I'm not going to get hit by it, but I'm nowhere close to that wall either.
Well, I did notice if I did get hit by the shark a couple of times, I survived, but to very, very just sliver of health. So I immediately, used a lock cookie or my 30% regeneration. But you can survive the shark. So it's not as bad as the whale, because the whale's instant death.
Yeah, if you have to choose between like whale or tornado or shark, the shark is the one you want to get hit by. Like if you have to choose one of those to get hit by, the shark is the one to get hit by.
And you're speaking from experience, though, right?
Yes, actually, because I think I got hit by both. Like I was trying to decide which one I was like kind of pincered into a corner where the only open spot was where the shark was going to come through from the tornado, and I didn't have any blinks up at that moment, so I couldn't blink through the tornado, and I had to make a decision. And I think what ended up happening is I chose the shark, got hit by the shark, and knocked through the tornado, and then had the tornado as well, which killed me shortly thereafter.
No, of course. What I've been wondering for a while too is whether or not when the shark comes up, how quickly you can get back out. So I've experimented over and over. The water kind of bubbles and makes its little effect. But I've actually run out immediately following the shark's landing. So as soon as that white dissipates, I run right in the middle. Haven't taken any damage that I've noticed from it yet, which I think might be a good habit to get into. Just the minute that's gone right back into that sort of middle section of the circle, away from the edge as much as you can.
Yeah, I wish there was some sort of telltale warning that you knew what direction the shark was coming from, because there was one time I swear I was in the middle and the shark came, so I'm running to the side and my short little legs just did not get me there before I got hit by it. I survived it, but it still pissed me off because I got hit. I was like, why can I not get to the side fast enough? And I don't know, maybe our fans know if there's some sort of telltale warning what flow direction the shark's coming from. But
I think so.
I can't see one.
This was the first week that I had been hit by the shark. In all of our polls on Mistress Zine, I had never been hit by the shark until this week, and I learned it's got a knockback, a pretty nasty knockback.
It knocks you to the wall.
Yeah, I didn't know that, and I got hit by that shark, and I was like, wow, that knocks you clear across the room.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a pretty big shark. Jaws' brother.
I'm used to just watching it, go swim through the room, to the side.
But yeah, we're one-shotting Gorath, Demonic Inquisition, Argitan, Sisters of the Moon. We did a couple of polls on, I think. We didn't get it, or did we get it down in the first poll?
No, it was a few polls, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're still hiccuping a little bit on Sisters, but better than we have been. And then Sazine, we still got our issues there, but we're getting there. We eventually get her down, maybe not the first night. But heck, we got 4 bosses, almost 5, in the first night. So that's pretty good for heroic.
Yeah, it is
Yep.
definitely good. The one thing I would like to see though, like on Demonic Inquisition in particular, is those calcified quills get handled better. They're very reminiscent of the tormented scream thing or whatever it's
Yeah,
called.
Tormented Cries.
The tormented cries. It's very similar to the tormented cry, only the tormented cry stays for a really long time. So I think if they can start, if all of our players practice on those calcified quills and learn to point them away from the group, it's the same sort of mechanic that you deal with later in the host. So,
I know there was one where I went to run behind the boss, and for whatever reason I got turned around. I ran right out in the middle of the room with my quills, and I know that was my mistake, but I called that. I was like,
Sure.
I'm sorry,
Yep,
guys. I
you
mean,
did.
I totally, I could have swore I was heading the right direction. I looked over. I was like, wait, that's the door. It's like,
But that
that's the
wasn't-
wrong direction.
but that wasn't the only one. That
No,
went through
no,
the middle
no,
of the
no,
room.
it wasn't.
And,
But,
and we could do that like I'd love to just see that fight like so clean. I just like want to be like proud of everybody on how they handled the mechanics. I want to be like, oh, you guys are so awesome. But I keep seeing those calcified quills go through the room, and I'm like, stop it.
Well, the thing is, too, it can be directed to where the tanks are going to be. Because there's sort of the danger zone that you're not supposed to go. So if you just have in your mind the line between the boss and that area, that's just where you have to direct them to. Because that's the sort of the no-go zone. And if you hit a tank with one of those things, it's not as bad as getting 5 or 10 people in the raid.
I tell you what, the one thing that makes me mad on that boss is those purple circles that are dropped on the ground.
Mhm.
They slow you, and they do such massive damage, at least to a hunter. Because I've only got like 4 million hit points anyway, so it's not a lot.
Can't you disengage out of those?
Well, I don't know, but what I've been doing now is I've been hitting my button and going inside,
Oh.
because I don't know. If just being a dwarf, I just seriously think that I'm only running at half speed.
You're not, but yeah, I can see.
Well, I know
it
it slows you, but you got those short little legs. It's like, run faster.
Yeah, I'm perpetually thankful for blink in pretty much every fight that I do. So because I usually blink out of them.
Well, I wish
But
the dwarves had more speed boosts. They just have the one, and it's feels like a 20-minute cooldown before I get it again. I never get 2 in a fight.
Yeah, I feel similarly about Dark Flight, but I mean, it's 2-minute cooldown, I think, on Dark
Yeah,
Flight.
but you got what, 2 blinks and Dark Flight?
Yeah. So
I've got 1.
Yeah, but your disengage is like what, every 30 seconds or something?
Yeah, the disengage works. It's just you have to turn around because it disengages you backwards.
Right.
So if you disengage the wrong, and that can be confusing too. If you disengage the wrong direction, you can. Not that I've done this too many times, but disengage right off the edge of the platform.
That's always fun to watch.
I like running off the edge. It's always like, oh god, how stupid can I get?
Right?
Yeah,
It's like,
I think.
Oh, there's the edge.
Yeah, I think falling off the edge of pretty much any fight is kind of like one of those like moments where you just sort of like put your head down a little bit and feel dumb.
Especially when you're the view of the live stream.
Mhm.
Oh yeah,
And-
that's all I can see is nothing.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, like I specifically remember when I learned that I could blink off the edge of the platform against Kill Jaden. I was like,
I
oh.
remember that.
And I was like, oh, I can blink off of that. Didn't know that till just now.
Surprise!
So I don't know if a lot of you know this, or at least I don't know if our fans know this. I did start another live stream. Wednesday we're doing an alt run where it's the same raid team but different tunes for those raid members. I'm actually healing, so I can't be blamed for anything anymore. They keep going, it's all Fafford's fault. And it's like, Fafford's not here. Katina's is here. Or no, I don't even play Katina's. Who do I play? I play as Sarla. So, I can't take the blame anymore.
Yeah, I'll be able to join you guys this week too. That'll be fun.
Yeah. So Wednesday, same bat channel, same bat time. We do an alt run and we live stream it. We won't be talking about it on the podcast though, but we've been going back and doing a couple of the older raids. I tell you what, I forgot how much fun those were. not.
Yeah, they are. Oh,
I mean,
Little Nightmare is fun.
yeah, whatever.
Maybe I'll be
I
able
like
to
it.
join you on a Wednesday. It's
I-
easy to say that when you're not there.
We
Yeah.
have some of the main tune alt or main tunes that are there, so the bosses melt a lot faster, which is great. So
Well,
you don't have to
plus-
worry. Like you remember the big spider boss, and you have to run across the platforms, and we don't even make it to the second platform. We don't even make it to the bird phase by the
Oh,
time
wow.
we killed the boss.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, we were like eager to get the loot from that back then, and that's like 850 gear, which I mean,
Yeah,
we're running alts like right now with just world quests are running around with like 900 gear. So
yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's obviously you're 50 item levels above where you need to be to run that.
Well, some alts. I mean,
Wait, yeah.
I'm one of, well, let's see, last Wednesday it was me and Tapachino healing, and I was second place healer.
Is she playing
And
Cappuccino on there?
She was, and then to make me feel better on the double dragon fight, she stopped healing, and she's like, "Look, Asarla, you're number 1 in healing." That's like, shut up, Tap. You're just doing that to make me feel better. You cast like 3 spells during the entire fight.
Aw,
Yeah.
you didn't like that pity score?
No, I didn't. I wanted to work for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of fun. So that's on the YouTube site if you guys want to check out those live streams. Just do a search for Lions Pride Tavern World of Warcraft, and you should be able. If you put in Lions Pride Tavern World of Warcraft, you're going to find all the streams that I have on the YouTube site. Plus, we've got our Facebook page. Everybody knows that. Facebook.com, Lions Pride Tavern. You guys can join us there. Leave comments, questions. We post a lot of our stuff there. JobUi's awesome week auras always get posted there. If you're into week auras, he's got some amazing ones. He's got to stop stacking them in the same spot, though.
Oh, well, they should only show like when.
They
Like,
are.
I've been-
They're only showing on the one boss, but I have mine that I have for every battle I do. I have my buttons, and you're always stacking them right there, so I have to go move them all every time
Oh.
you do a new one.
Well, see, I've been stacking like the instruction ones, and like the stack numbers and stuff, like in the same general area, just so that those who get used to using some of my weak auras get used to looking in the same spot for the information they need to see.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. It really is. No, I'm just complaining from my own aspect. So,
Oh, you have to move the weak auras.
yeah.
Aw.
Another trial of life.
So let's move on. Is there anything new that anybody learned in WoW?
Yeah, actually, I learned that that you can buy an item called the Crocul or Crocul flute from the Argusian Reach vendor up on the Vindicar. He's on the right-hand side of the Vindicar instead of on the left-hand side where the Army of Light vendor is. You need Revered with the Argusian Reach faction, and it costs 500 gold, and it upgrades your Flight Master's whistle to allow you to use that when you're up on Argus, and it will teleport you to the nearest light-forged beacon. Apparently a tunneler comes, and it doesn't like have a flight thing. It just like kind of makes like a ground busting kind of noise, and then you show up at one of those beacons elsewhere, or like whatever the nearest one is. And on top of that, and this is the best part, it's account wide. So if you buy it with one tune,
Good deal.
it works for all of your alts.
Yep.
You don't have. It's really cool. So yeah, that's the thing I learned this week. Oh,
Oh.
and I'm now a WoW millionaire.
Nice. Congrats.
Yay, welcome to the club.
Yeah, the Millionaires Club. Woohoo. Let's see, that would be Lorelei, me, and you.
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
so poor. I'm trading in for real life gold, if you will. I pay my account entirely through Warcraft gold.
Yeah, which is the best way to do it. It's cheaper that way.
I used to do that, and then I started feeling like poor in WoW, and then I was like, I'll just pay the subscription.
Yeah, I got a buddy of mine that's got, I think he's got 3 alts to the max level of gold because he's just, I mean, he's not in the Goblin Gold cast either. He just, I don't know, the guy's.
I think I just decided that it was easier to grind real dollars than WoW gold. So
It pays the bills.
There you go. Yeah,
So-
Bronzebeard just decided that, hey, he's going to start saving up for the expansion.
oh
Oh,
He's
wow.
Nice.
gonna try to pay it all that way. He hasn't got a job, so it makes sense.
Awesome.
wait, you mean he's going to try and pay for the expansion with WoW gold? Is basically what you.
Just
Wow.
by getting tokens.
Yeah, you
yep.
could. You have to, what? I don't know what the, well, let's just talk about
It'll
that.
be
'cause
60.
That's
It'll-
the new news from BlizzCon.
Right.
Right? That's the biggest news they've had so far. Now, one of our raid members, Charity, is actually there, and both Dex and Max are there from the Goblin Gold cast at BlizzCon, and they put on the website that the new news. Of course, it's in on BattleNet and all that too. That the new Battle for Azeroth WoW expansion. Now, they didn't put a date on it. Nobody heard a date, right?
Yeah, it probably won't be until like summer, something like that.
And that's what I'm thinking. But they like to announce these things and get them out, which I'm really surprised. They like to do it around Christmas. So, it's only November.
Well,
Yeah.
they are going to open up a few things now, and then open up the big expansion later.
Oh, look what's coming sooner.
Oh, I'd have to go look that up. I can't remember.
Well, some of the features I heard of was new races.
Races, yep.
Yep. Class ability changes and new talents.
Mhm.
Legendary changes. So it sounds like, I'm assuming they mean they're going to keep the legendaries. And whatever stat squish is, I don't know. I mean,
Oh, we're doing another stat squish, huh?
yeah.
Yeah. You don't remember what stat squish is?
No.
All right. Well, back from like Cataclysm, I think it was going into. I think it was Mists of Pandaria. The numbers that you would have for your stats, like the number you'd have for intelligence, was getting atrociously large. So like you'd get an item and it had to have like 150,000 intelligence on it or some ridiculous number. And so they did this massive stat squish to all items in the game. So now all of those items that used to require, like, instead of giving you 150,000 intelligence or something, it would give you 150 intelligence. So it was
I
like
gotcha.
they just scaled everything down to lower numbers so that they were easier to deal with.
I didn't know there was a name for that. I just figured
Yeah.
they just, stat squish.
Yeah,
But then I
also
guess. Oh, go ahead.
There's another thing I heard that they're going to be doing is the PvP switch. Where you like, not that this matters to a lot of us because most of us don't PvP very much, but apparently PvP is going to be just like a switch. You can turn it on and turn it off, and like don't have to wait 5 minutes and stuff. Going into the next expansion, I heard that. And
I'm going to say that's going to be dangerous. I really do. I have a feeling there's going to be even more ganking going on with that. Gank somebody and then switch back and then they can't touch you.
I don't know. I don't worry about it much because I live on Storm Rage, where there's like, 40,000 Horde to 890,000 Alliance, so I don't worry about it much.
Yeah, so when you drive by, you roll your windows up.
Yeah. Well, the only time I ever worry about it is when I switch, when I end up getting phased into another realm because I join a group for a world quest or something.
Oh, yeah.
That happened to me today, actually. I went to join a group to kill a boss on Argus, and the whole room was like filled with Horde that was like like I could see all their health bars, and I'm like, if I attack anything, I'm gonna get nuked. So I just quickly left that group and went back to PvE because I'm what they might call a Care Bear. I don't PvP that much.
Yeah,
I got in that situation a few days ago, but as a pally, it's like, yeah, go ahead, bring it, because you last forever. But whoever I was with, there was the people who were in my group all just disappeared the minute my shield hit somebody and they turned to hit me back, and 5 of them just smacked me down, and then they decided to hang around and wait for me to come back to my body. So it's like, oh yeah, that's why I don't like PvP.
Yeah.
But I have to say, Battle for Azeroth, the cutscene that they made for that, fantastic.
Oh, that is amazing.
Oh,
and I was watching the Q&A earlier, and Anduin is not a paladin.
What?
No. Ian specifically said he is still a priest, but because he's a hero, he can do things that the rest of us can't do.
Because I swear he looked like a rat pally to me.
Yeah,
he did. I mean, he's got a sword in his hand like that.
Yeah.
Priests don't use swords.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that really what a paladin is, more or less? It's like a battle priest, more or less. Yeah,
an armored battle priest.
I thought the Worgens looked awesome.
Yes.
In that. And Blizz, if you're listening, Worgens we could use a bit of a retouch. How about some new models for the Worgens?
Yeah, flecks of color so they can match your gear better.
Yeah, maybe more furry looking and less spiky looking. Come on, I mean everybody else got some love. Why not the Worgens?
They have not fixed ugly gnomes, so until they do that, they can't touch anybody else.
But didn't gnomes get a revamp even though
they
they're
made
ugly?
them ugly.
Well,
they made them. No, all the female ones look like they've been licking lemons, or they're 85 years old. I mean, it's like gnomes are supposed to be cute.
Yeah,
licking lemons all day long.
Licking lemons.
I wouldn't have thought of it that way, but yeah, I
gnome
can see your
lemon
point.
lickers.
Yeah, but I still all of the animation in that, and I know some of it probably comes from their experience in making like the movie and whatnot, but there was such subtle nuance in the expressions on the faces and stuff, just subtle little ticks in the facial expressions that I thought was fantastic, and just the special effects in it were really, really super well done. Just really, really on point.
So I guess they had a couple other things I thought were pretty cool. They're doing Aldar time walking for Battle Azeroth.
Oh, that'll be nice.
And
Ulduar?
Yeah, Ulduar.
I wonder if they'll do like an upgraded version of the Ulduar gear, because that's still to this day some of my favorite transmog gears from Ulduar.
It is.
Some class raid buffs, new talents.
Yeah.
Island expeditions. I'm not quite sure what that is. Oh, go ahead.
Class raid buffs.
Yeah.
Yes, they're putting raid buffs. That was on the Q&A
we get our raid
because
buffs
people
back?
like them. They like to see that go off.
Yeah, I mean, come on. That was one of the things that you would want certain classes in your group just so you could get the buff. I mean,
right.
That was awesome.
Yeah, and then we'll have like that person who is a certain class that has a certain buff that we have to constantly tell to buff the group. I can't wait. Oh yeah.
Let's fix that. Yeah, that's crazy.
And there's going to be 10 new dungeons.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, they're going to keep us busy.
Yep. So hopefully it won't be as grindy as this one. I mean, we can talk about that next podcast because I hear the music. It's time for Lorelei's Pet Battle Minute.
Hey, have you taken advantage of the pet bonus event weekend? It's a great way to level your pets if you don't have a lot of extra time. Finding and battling tamers that reward items that can get you battle stones is the best way to level pets. Try using low-level pets against warlord tamers. You'll get tons of experience as well as pet charms, which can be exchanged for leveling stones. For example, you can use a level 1 pet to battle Warlord's Tamers, fully buffed, using your Safari hat, to get your pet from level 1 to 19. Battle the Tanan Tamer to get your Fell-Touched Battlestone, to level your pet from 19 to 24, and then finish up by purchasing a Flawless Battle Training Stone to hit level 25, and you're done. Don't forget that you can still purchase Shadow from the Blizz store. It was announced at BlizzCon that a plushie version will be up for sale as well. 100% of the proceeds will go to the Red Cross disaster funds to help victims of this year's hurricanes and floods around the world. And not much word yet on new pets and tamers in the new expansion, but it's early days yet, so we'll have to wait for the PTR to get running. Hope you're looking forward to the Battle of Azeroth because I am. See you next week.
And then there's
Getting Thieves with JobUi.
So, you want better DPS? The very best advice I can give anyone trying to dish out better DPS is to do a lot of research. Read up on talents, rotations, relics, stat priority, neither shard crucible choices, and gear. Learn all you can about your class and spec. Talk to other people who play your spec. Check different websites for different perspectives. Download and get comfortable using Simulation Craft. Install the add-on pawn and import your own custom stat weights and keep them updated. Then apply all of that research and practice. And practice some more. And then practice some more. And then do more research. More sims and more practice. And every time Blizzard does a balance pass to your class and spec, prepare to do it all over again. Squeezing out the most DPS out of your toon isn't a one-time thing. It's an ongoing process that requires effort. There is no quick fix. So get out there, do some research, and apply it in practice. Keep getting those deeps.
and our schizophrenic tank and address.
What's wrong with tanking? What's wrong with tanking? What's wrong with tanking in a dress? What's wrong with tanking? What's wrong with tanking? What's wrong with tanking in a dress?
Well, both of us here at Come At Me a Tanking Minute would like to talk to you about that we need to back it up a little bit. But what do I mean by that? Well, you know, from time to time, when you go to a dungeon and instance, it's very simple. You can, as a tank, pull things and just keep on running, knowing that the mobs falling behind will hit you behind, they'll miss your shield, do a little bit of damage, you can ignore them and just go like nuts. But sometimes, when you're in a more challenging dungeon, you have to always face those mobs. You can't turn away, or you'd take significant damage, and that's a bad thing for a tank. So there's a little trick you can use, and you may have been in instances with tanks who've mastered this technique. It's one of my favorite ones. It's actually called the walking backwards, the running backwards tanking technique. So what you do is you'd run up to the mobs, you hit them with a shield or some sort of AoE trick to get their attention, run through them, and then rotate around, and then walk backwards. Here's how it works. So most people use keys to move around, so the WASD is normal. I've talked before about how I've shifted mine over slightly just because it gives me more instant access to keys, and as a typist I like doing that. But so let's say you're still using the WAS configuration though. Your S key is going to back you up. So what you do is you run forward, run through the mobs, quickly use your left click mouse to spin around to face the mobs that you are going to be fighting, and then just hit your S key and you'll start moving backwards. You can do all your usual rotations if you keep holding that key down and clicking other keys as you go. So it's almost like you're doing your normal rotation, but just have to keep, one finger pressed down as you go. You will, of course, need to use that look around technique, the click and hold, to make sure you're not going to run into something like the next set of mobs you're not ready for yet, or off the edge of a cliff, or some other kind of inconvenient thing to ruin your tanking. But if you, with a little bit of practice, do that little backing up, you'll actually be able to move that much faster through the dungeon. And that's been Come At Me, a Tanking Minute.
And WFN News, Warcraft Stafford News. The Neither Disruptor is next on the Broken Shores. It has Epic Hunter and Reinforced Reigns. The weekly event is Time Walking Lich King. Who is my daughter going to be happy about that? The Dark Moon Fair is active again for this whole week until Sunday, and WoW tokens are still at 187, and people are saying they went up because of BlizzCon, so, and whatever BlizzCon may be announcing, so might be a good time to get your tokens before they drop another bombshell. Who knows? Anyway, that's it for tonight, guys. Thanks for coming. I'd like to thank Charm for her beautiful music. Please go visit her website and her YouTube channels. The links are in the description below, plus BenSound at bensound.com. I also want to thank Vincent Moretto. All of his information is in the description below. So thanks, everybody, for coming. We'll see y'all next week.
Bye.
See you, folks.
Take care.
If you like this podcast, throw us a like and subscribe to our channel. And please, leave comments or questions below. Maybe we'll answer them on the air next podcast. We are hosted on Podomatic.com. Our website is Lionspride.Tavern.podomatic.com. Our podcast also airs on iTunes for Apple users, Google Play for Androids, and YouTube. Just search World of Warcraft Lions Pride Tavern podcast. See you next week, and thanks for listening.